Welcome back to Man Cave Movie Night. Now, Lucas, I don't know how athletic you are, but you
Oh,
look very athletic.
that's right. I am very athletic. I'm glad you noticed that, actually.
Now, would you tell me some of the sports you play?
Let's see. I play basketball, of
Basketball,
course.
yes, like
Well,
you're
like,
you on
like,
Please Do Not.
of course.
We saw your
Um,
skills showcased.
Volleyball as well is a good
Volleyball.
one. Soccer,
Ooh, all right.
lacrosse,
Wow.
marching
Um,
band, which is a sport.
well,
No, it is.
well, I
And
don't mean
so I'm good at that sport. Let's see what else. Yeah, curling, chess is a sport. Video games is a sport now. So yeah, those are some of my sports.
so it seems you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they call me a jack of all trades.
Well, are you, Jack, are you trading in the pickleball variety these days?
Ooh, man, that is a great question. See, pickleball is something I'm phenomenal at. So
Oh,
I only didn't mention it because of how good I am, and just even mentioning it, I feel like is unnecessarily egotistical, just because I'm so good.
you're so good and you're so humble. So thank you for both of those.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, the biggest complaint I've been hearing in the pickleball circuit is that honestly, it's a lot of ball and not a lot of pickle.
I have been hearing the same things,
Now, if
which
you're breaking it down based on the letters and the words, you expect it to be about 70% pickle and only
yeah,
30% ball. But
you
how
would
many
expect
pickles,
that.
how many pickles are you seeing on the pickleball court?
Typically zero. I am quite ashamed of my favorite sport, only giving me ball and none pickle.
Disproportionate for real.
Disproportionate.
Well, luckily for you and for our listeners, our sponsor today is aiming to fix that. This
Wow.
episode, this is an actual sponsor for the pickle paddle. This is a kind of an art um, creation of our friend Ian Themerton,
The
friend
one
of
and
the
only.
podcast. Shout out to Ian, um, who has created amazing art on pickleball paddles that he is now selling on Etsy.
Or Instagram or in person if you live in the Provo Orem area. There's a place called the Underground Collective on Center Street that you can
That's
get them
correct.
from. And if you want to see an image of it, you can pull up the video on YouTube if you're doing that. And here's what it looks like.
Ooh,
Isn't
look
that
at how many
awesome?
pickles there are. Count them.
There are two designs.
That's proportionate.
I don't know how well you can see that, but
Well, just imagine if you're just a listener, pickles on a paddle.
pickles on a pickleball paddle.
Pickles on a pickleball paddle.
Pickles that
Um,
look great, by the way. Ian designed them, he drew them, he formatted it all great, and it looks awesome. It looks exactly like how you would want it to look.
they are excited. I've already ordered my set of pickleball paddles. Uh, and I'm very excited about it. So if you guys are interested, we highly recommend them. This is you can find the pickle paddle at the pickle paddle on Instagram or on Etsy. So go ahead and
Same
check them
name on
out.
Etsy.
We yeah, we're happy to support and we're excited to have a sponsor this week. So
Yeah, and the other fun thing is if you go to ianthemerton.com, you can buy them from there as well, or it'll redirect you to the Etsy link where you can find it, which is pretty
perfect.
fun.
So it's everywhere. Um, So Lucas, hopefully that'll fix your this disproportionate, uh, honestly, just
Offensive.
offensive nature of the game at the moment, and put things back in balance, as well as make you look good
Man, sexy.
and sexy on the
And good at the
pickleball
game.
courts.
I mean, I know most of you guys, well, all of you guys who are listening are not as good at pickleball as I am. So you need to do something to help you like seem like you have a bit of an edge. This will help with that because I guarantee this is, I mean, now that I've started using the pickle paddle, my level of expertise was already incredibly high and now it's even higher. So the only way to even try to keep up is by consuming this paddle, being a consumer of this paddle, not eating it. You
Don't
could eat it
consume
too
it.
if
It
you want it.
looks delicious,
It
but don't
does
eat
look
it.
delicious. It wouldn't be good to eat it because you needed to use it to play me in pickleball.
Right,
And that's all we have for you. The pickle
and that's
paddle. We love it. We want you to buy it. And thanks to Ian Themerton.
And welcome back to Man Cave Movie Night. I'm Jared.
Lucas and no
Oh my
Niall.
gosh.
What? It's just the two
No
of
other.
us.
It's just the two of us, finally.
Finally, we got Niall out of
After
here.
long months of court battles, we were finally able to get Niall's shares and get him off the podcast. So,
Usurp him.
usurp him, hostile takeover. Um, no, it's just Lucas and I. Niall is out of town. I will be out of town in upcoming episodes as well. So it's a little weird, but hey, we're here to give you some good content. We're going to do our best without him. Specifically, this week, we decided to talk about a video game Niall hasn't played, but many of
Perfect.
you hopefully have. And that is The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the new release
Ooh,
this summer.
wow. Perfect. That's fun. Yeah, it's great because Niall hasn't played either of those games. So we're like, well, since he's gone, we might as well do something we couldn't do when he was here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time when we want to do an episode, it's like we will say, this is the episode we want to do, go and watch
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of this thing. However, with these games, you
It's kind of
really can
hard.
pour a ton of time into it. And if you really want to experience it, we might not be able to talk about them for months.
Yeah.
So this is the best way to go about it, I think, is
Yeah, I
just get
agree.
Niall out.
Yeah, get Nile out and just do it. And the thing with that as well is if you have not played Tears of the Kingdom much, or Flash in the Zoa. Jared's got a Zoa. If
I've
you're
got a Zoa.
listening, it's pretty awesome. So if you have not played it very much yet, or at all, or just are curious, we're gonna just talk about our general reactions to it before we kind of really get into the gameplay and stuff like that. If you don't want like anything about the game spoiled at all, I don't know that that's even possible to talk about it without doing at least something about it. But we'll just be like, at first, we'll just talk about our general reactions, kind of like we do with movies, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of like kind of what we've been doing and where we've been spending our time and all that stuff. So just keep that in mind as you listen from here on out.
Yeah, let's get into it, I guess. I'll start with my general reactions and thoughts to Breath of the Wild, which I played all the way back on the Wii U.
Ooh,
Ooh,
nice. Me as
in
well,
that
actually.
in that amazing transition period.
That was the last major game they released on Wii U, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah,
Because it was initially developed for Wii U, and then it took so long that they're like, "Oh, guess this is a,
I guess this is a Switch
guess
game
this is
now.
both." Yeah, because I think the one before that was Skyward Sword, right?
Well, that was for the Wii.
That was for Wii, because there was never a Wii U Zelda game exclusive.
Huh.
And I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure that was
guess
the previous
not.
one, and that was 2011 or 12. So it took like 5 or 6 years, just like Tears of the Kingdom took, I guess. But yeah, it was a long time coming, and it's Breath of the Wild kind of changed Zelda for the better in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think as soon as this game came out, a lot of people even started talking about, okay, when are we going to get an open world Pokemon game? When are we going to
Yeah,
get an open world, uh, you know,
Mario.
Mario game, Star Fox game,
Metroid game.
Metroid game? Well, I mean, even since because of the popularity of this one, I'm sure is what drove it. But we got an open world Sonic game, right?
Yeah, true.
Like,
And there
there's
is an
been
open world Pokemon game, actually.
right. Is that Arceus?
Arceus and Scarlet and Violet are open world.
That's right.
But yeah,
So yeah, like mission accomplished. This changed the way Nintendo's doing games.
which is pretty cool. It's interesting because those Pokemon games have gotten a lot of flack and criticism
Yeah.
because of the graphics.
Same with the Sonic.
Yeah. Oh,
What's it
really? It's
called?
Frontiers, right?
Frontiers. Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that
It's
game
like
is fun,
unless
but
you're playing on a PS5,
yeah.
the graphics are rough. Like
And
just
that,
the distance it loads in is very
oh,
small.
that's a
And so
bummer.
you're watching like the graphics just around you be good, and then everything else
Is just
takes
like
it.
gets
It's
chunky.
just so plain and chunky. Yeah.
Oof, that's interesting. See, the thing with Pokemon as well is that it's a Switch exclusive, and so the Switch does not have a lot of processing power, and so it's hard to put bigger games on the system, which is why a lot of the larger games that have come out on PS4 and or like Xbox One and PS5 even haven't been on Switch because the system just can't handle it. And so the developers have to like manually port it to Switch, which some have done for some of the newer games that people they want you to play as well. But yeah, it's just not a very strong system. The Nintendo exclusive games are awesome on it, like this and like,
Right.
you know, Mario Party and Mario Kart, which is why you buy Nintendo systems. It's for the Nintendo games. You don't buy it for like, oh cool, I've always wanted to play, I don't know, Assassin's Creed or whatever. It's
Right.
nice because it's portable, but now that there's like other portable options for gaming, Switch is just like mainly driven, from my perspective at least, by the Nintendo stuff. And, you know, Zelda being probably the most popular among the Nintendo exclusives, other than like Mario. But
Yeah, absolutely. Nintendo is one of those companies that have very strong intellectual properties.
yeah,
And so being able to have exclusive rights to that is what gives them a lot of power,
yeah, absolutely.
especially because the Switch it's portable, but it's also built for kind of living room gaming
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're playing Smash with your family or
Hmm.
Mario Kart or Mario Party. It
Yep.
has these properties that are more less like online gaming or solo adventure, huge scale like Elden Ring gaming.
Yeah, yeah. You would not be able to run that on a Switch very well.
No chance.
Well, I mean, even that being said, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild have pretty expansive maps. And
Yeah,
so it's cool to like see what they're able to do. And it's more of a cartoony animated style, which works really well, I think. But they do that so that they can pump more into the graphics and make it look more convincing. Excuse me. I think I just like was choking on something. I'm not even eating right now or anything or drinking. I just started
you just
choking. But yeah, they have a great, they do great job with that type of stuff. So it's been fun to play these games.
yeah, and that's one of the main things I wanted to say about these games is it's just beautiful, right?
Hmm.
Both games, this game's in particular,
Hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom, is very pretty and very colorful. The first place you're in is like in an autumn season state, and
Yep.
you walk out and it's just gorgeous,
Oh yeah.
beautiful colors, and yeah, like everything about it is just so pretty. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about my initial thoughts for Breath of the Wild because that game when I played it, and even to this day, I've played it maybe 2 or 3 times all the way through.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games that's I've ever played.
Yeah. Me too. Definitely.
It it has this kind of sense of like adventure, and you want to discover every piece of the map. You want
Yes.
to see everything. There's yeah some repetitive mechanics to it, right? The main things you do discover are shrines, which are
Hmm.
just little puzzles, or korok seeds, which
Which are nothing.
are really nothing. Yeah, like they help you grow your inventory, but
Which is nice.
which is nice, but still like those are the two really main things you can find out and discover.
Yeah.
And so even with it being that limited, it never felt, oh, it's just a shrine. It's no, this shrine is in a labyrinth and
Yeah.
that's fun. Or
Yeah.
this
Hmm.
shrine is you have to shoot an arrow when the sun is at a certain point and then it appears. All these
Hmm.
things where the puzzles are interesting. There's always something new to discover. Yeah, and even it makes fetch quests like exciting. I
Yeah.
thought like go and find 10 like illuminating stones and I'll give you 1 diamond. I'm like,
Yeah.
done, let's
Yeah.
go.
Let's do it. See, the thing I think these games just do so phenomenally well is constant, like it's addictive, but it's constantly giving you things to do. Like once you pick it up, it is so hard to put it down.
Yeah.
Like it's not the type of game it's like, oh, I'll just grind out a like 15-minute session in between whatever. It's like there's always something you're like, oh cool, I found this shrine, I'm gonna beat the shrine, but now I want to go do this other shrine so I can get enough spirit orbs to get my heart. Now that I have my
Yeah.
heart, I can go fight this other guy. And like there's just always another step or two or three or four steps in your brain where it's like, okay, cool, I can do this and then this and then this. And it's always like it doesn't like spoon feed you the stuff at all, but there's always stuff on the way where it's like just adding to the pile, adding to the stack of things that you want to do. And so it's so hard to find a stopping point. And because I don't have a job right now, I've just been looking for work. It's been so easy to just start playing and then not stop playing until it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's 4 a.m. I should probably go to sleep. And that has happened more than once over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just they're just such fun games. Interesting thing about these games as well is Breath of the Wild came out when Jared and I graduated high school in 2017, like right at the same time.
Yeah.
And then now this game has come out when we are finishing college. And so
Yeah.
it's like the perfect time where it's like those intermediary periods where you have more time than you should. And it's like, here's a Zelda game to
Yeah.
use up all that time. And so
Yeah,
that's
truly.
just
Like I'm working full time on this game. Like I'm putting in 8 hour days,
oh yeah.
5 days a week.
Yeah, I forced myself to not start playing until later. And what I've started doing as well is bringing it to the gym and playing it on the treadmill because it's like
Yeah.
at least it's something more to it. And but I've like forced myself. It's like, okay, I got to get up, I got to work out, I got to, eat lunch, go for a walk, whatever, do stuff until like 3 or 4 ish. And then I'm like, okay, I feel like I've earned it to the point, like I've earned enough. And so I can sit down and burn away like 8 hours in one set, or 4 to 8 hours, however many it
Right.
is. And it's been fun. It's been so fun playing this one. And similarly, when high school was finishing up, it was the same thing. Except I wasn't nearly as diligent. I was just like, cool, just get home from school. Like I pumped 100 hours into that game, and like Breath of the Wild in like a month and a half. Just because it
Jeez.
was like I would get home and play that game until I went to bed every
Yeah.
single day until high school ended, and after high school ended until I just was like, all right, cool, I'm content, and then I beat it, and then that was it. But yeah,
Yeah. I think another thing that Breath of the Wild did well, but Tears of the Kingdom has now done incredibly, is they give you some abilities pretty early on.
yeah,
And they explain how to use them, and then the puzzles throughout the game require you to use them in kind of inventive ways,
yeah,
right? In Breath of the Wild, it's a little more straightforward of how you're
yeah,
supposed to use the abilities. You see water, you use the water ability. You
yeah,
see something metal, you use the metal ability. Tears of the Kingdom has exponentially grown that with
yeah.
less abilities at the start.
Hmm.
They allow you to do so much more. And so I'm always trying to think, oh, like where am I in this puzzle? Do I need to be looking up? For
Yeah,
example,
yep,
do I need to be how do I construct something? Like there are just interesting mechanics how and it feels like you can solve every puzzle in different ways. It never feels like there's a set way you have to do it, which is just frustrating at times
uh-huh.
because you're
Yeah,
trying to figure out what am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to do it? And then you're just experimenting. But then once you find it, you're like, okay, that was a good puzzle.
uh-huh.
That was
And,
great.
and the thing with these games as well, well, I guess particularly in Tears of the Kingdom, is it's like when you like I knew nothing about this game. I didn't watch any of the trailers except for the one that came out like 2021 when it was like the announcement trailer and it was just like
Right.
Link walking around. It's like, cool, look, here's Link. We're making another they called it Breath of the Wild 2 back then. Like that was the only thing I'd seen from this game because I was like, I don't need to watch the trailers. I know I'm gonna play this game. I don't need to be sold on it because it's just something I'm gonna get. And
Right.
so I had no idea what any of the abilities or anything would be. I knew there was some sort of sky element to it, but that was about it. And so unlocking the abilities at the very beginning of the game, I was like, what the heck? Like fusion and like the ascension one was what surprised me the most because that's
Right.
these abilities are so like Zelda games have never done these types of abilities before, which I really love because
Mhm.
they're kind of pushing the franchise forward. It's like the ascension ability just was so surprising. Like you can just climb up through anything now. That's just like a thing Link can do. That was really like, whoa, that is, I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
And then being able to fuse stuff to your items or your shields or each other, stick them together, create machines, all the Zonai devices, all that stuff has just been so entertaining. Like it's just been so fun to be able to explore and figure out how to do that stuff optimally. Like I've not spent as much time like building things as some people.
Right.
If you don't know much about this game, you've probably seen like reels and stuff of people making like attack helicopters and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's so
Down,
fun. Yeah. Yeah,
down.
exactly. And just like laying waste to like a bokoblin camp and not even doing anything.
Yeah.
That type of
Just
stuff. It's just been
yeah,
so fun.
killing like 10, 15 different enemies or one insanely powerful enemy with the
Yeah.
click of a button.
Yeah. And up until a patch that came out today, you could unlimited there you could duplicate your items an unlimited amount of times. They
Mhm.
just patched it out this morning, so if you haven't played the game yet, you kind of missed out on it. I was an idiot and I only did diamonds, which
Yeah.
was great. I mean, I have unlimited rupees now because I just cashed them all in.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, oh man, I should have used it for like other resources too, and now it's out of the game. But now
Yeah.
it's just like more of you have to play the game and explore, which is fun and fun.
Yeah. I only did that a little bit, partly because I hated not having so much resources. Well,
Yeah,
I did it only with diamonds as well.
yeah,
And I didn't even do that many,
yeah.
right? Um, the main reason is they want you to use your items, specifically the gemstones,
Mm-hmm.
for specific fusions and
Yep.
things in this game. And so it's not like in Breath of the Wild where, yeah, just sell
Yeah,
them
just
all.
sound they're totally
That's what they're
useless.
there for.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, I'm not getting nearly as many rupees in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the first town, when I was trying to buy some armor, I was like, well, I've got 200 max. And I just wanted to avoid that. So
Yeah, I got that. I really like how they've made every item useful because
me
in
too.
Breath of the Wild, when I got like a Keese eyeball or whatever, it's like, cool. I maybe will use this to make some elixir or whatever,
Or to dye your armor or
or
something.
dye your armor. Exactly. But in this, it's like Keese eyeballs are freaking awesome to get because they're
They're
homing
amazing.
this, and they've done such a good job of creating these cool like uses for all these different items that in the last game you would just thrown away. And so it sucks not having like unlimited bombs, but bomb arrows are a lot better and just bombs in general are a lot more valuable. And so they've just kind of shifted the way the like item like management works. And I love it. I prefer it way more. At the beginning, I was like, I don't love this, but now
You're
it's
sold.
really, really, yeah, I'm sold. I really, really like the changes and updates they've made to this game versus the last one.
Yeah, I think that was my one. Basically, when they announced they were making a second,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just going to be another story,
Yeah,
same
like
map, all
how,
these
yeah,
things.
yep,
And I think we're kind of going to start leaning more into spoiler territory.
yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Those are our initial thoughts. We like
Mm-hmm.
both games,
We love them. Yeah. I
but
mean,
we'll,
honestly, so for me, Breath of the Wild was one of my favorite games of all time. I actually just replayed it at the beginning of this year in preparation for Tears of the Kingdom on
nice.
Switch because I'd never had it on Switch. And now Tears of the Kingdom, it's so hard to say because it's so new, but I
Yeah.
think I might like it more because it just takes everything Breath of the Wild does well and just builds on it and makes it even better. And so, yeah, it's definitely both games are definitely my top 10. Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is top 5 for sure. Maybe even like top 3. Like it's just so fun. It's such a good game.
It is.
So glowing praises. If you haven't played it or you don't have a Switch, it's worth the money. It's worth the time. Get it, play it. It's just they're awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking about this as well. I think how Breath of the Wild starts and the kind of mystery elements to it,
Yeah.
I like more.
Yeah.
If
I do like I get what you mean. Like with the
so
100 years and you have to like find your memories and all that type of stuff.
100 years, yeah, you're just opened up to this whole thing. You don't know what happened. In this game, you kind of got a gist of what happened. Obviously, it's so much more layered and leveled, and
Mm-hmm.
the hieroglyph kind of memory
Yeah. Yeah.
difference
Oh,
was
yeah.
so fun, so
Yeah.
cool. All of
Because it
those
made the
cutscenes were
it,
great.
it made the memories actually worth finding
Hmm.
because they don't really give you a lot of the story at the beginning of the game, which I liked a lot in Tears of the Kingdom because it
Yeah.
pushed me to go to the first like boss because it was like I don't know what's going on. I want to like get some story elements. And then you find the tears and they actually like give you valuable information that you're interested in and you kind of clear it off the map. Like it's a
Mhm.
lot more like the smaller elements of this game are a lot better integrated into like making it integral to the story so you like have to or want to do it. Even shrines, like I didn't get all the shrines in any of my playthroughs, but I really want to get all the shrines in this one because for Tears of the Kingdom, kind of spoiler if you haven't figured this out, all the shrines on the main level, on the depths have a corresponding, not really shrine, but they're called like seeds, something seeds, like the bright bloom seeds, but there's some bigger name for them.
Well, it looks like the shrines have roots,
Yeah, the shrines
basically.
have roots, exactly. And so you can only unlock the map of the depths, the entire thing, by in theory finding all the shrines and then finding the corresponding seeds underneath. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing all the shrines because I've just like and they know they know that it bugs people to not have like a complete map. And so I'm like, I need to have that whole map. Even if I'm not
Right.
gonna like come 100% the game, I need that whole map. And that means I need all the shrines. And so yeah, it's been fun just making that they've made every small part of the game a lot more meaningful, and it motivates you a lot more to play it.
Right.
Whereas like Breath of the Wild was fun, but it wasn't as like necessary or integral.
Yeah. So I think with that core story and everything, honestly, the excitement and the mystery and everything of Breath of the Wild still has been better, I think, in my memory of it, right? In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
times I've played it, I just really enjoy that. Versus this one, I think it's still very good, very engaging, very interesting. It
You're
just
talking
hasn't really
story?
hit as much. Yeah, the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so but as far as mechanics go and just playing the game,
Yeah.
man, this game is way just like leagues, not like above, I guess, but
But
like you
just
were saying, it
advanced.
takes
Like
everything and enhances it. They're
mm-hmm.
like, okay, what did people like about the first game? What did they not like about it? How can we change and make this game, fix everything? So it's a great sequel. What I was gonna
Absolutely.
say is when they announced it, I was like, okay, it's the same map, surely,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just gonna
gotta
be
be. It's
another
the same high roll.
story.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like they're not gonna move the towns around, so it's probably gonna be the same towns you're going to.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I mean. I'm like,
yeah.
what are you gonna do
What are
to
you
make
gonna
it
change? Yeah,
interesting?
to
Um, and first of all, as far as the map goes, they basically, instead of saying, no, we're not changing this overworld that much, instead we're building a sky areas, and we're building depths.
yeah,
So
which
now
was
there's three levels to the world, and you're
mhm.
like, okay, great, right?
Yeah.
They still have the same things you like from the first game, like the towers and everything. Change those up a little bit.
Hmm.
I found myself turning corners and just like getting stuck in a place, and then I have to like. There's a part in the beginning of the game where I had to cut down trees, stick them together, angle
Yeah,
them,
with
and
the
climb out.
yeah, yeah,
And
yep.
I was like, I thought I would just had to restart the game until I was like, no, this isn't a bug. They
Hmm.
put me in a position. I've got
Yeah,
to be smart about it.
yep.
And I'm just thinking, like, man, is this for kids?
Yeah,
Because
that's
I'm an
the
adult
thing.
really needing to think.
It'd be hard to play this as a younger kid. Breath of the Wild, I think you can get by pretty well, and other Zelda games, like for sure, like especially
Yeah.
the top-down Zelda games. This one, yeah, there's a lot of complex stuff that they've added to this. And I think that they've kind of become cognizant of the fact that yeah, kids are the primary, I guess, marketing people they market to for their a lot of their games, like families, I guess. But
Yeah.
with this one, it feels like, okay, adults are the ones who play Zelda for the most part. And so we're going to make a game that's more challenging and that will really require you to use your intuition and just figure out how to get out of certain situations. Like I was talking to Jared as well yesterday, and I was like, I with the phenomena, which are kind of like the divine beasts of this game, the
Yeah.
four main bosses before you fight Ganondorf, I kept going too far in the quest without recruiting my sidekick. And so I would get to the point where you're supposed to use their power and be like, what am I even supposed to do here? I don't get it. And so then I have to
Mhm.
backtrack and redo stuff. And so there's all sorts of stuff like that where, yeah, you can get further in the game, but then it makes you like, hey, you missed a step, you got to do this thing. And so that's been very fun and interesting as well, where it's like it doesn't really guide you that much, but it also requires you to do some things and doesn't like spoon feed it to you.
Yeah. Let's talk about the divine beasts and the phenomenon and how
Mhm.
like they are very similar. Obviously, you
Yeah.
go to the four same places, you basically do a similar themed thing, right? um but what do you like, what do you not like, how do they compare? Yeah, which ones did you prefer, because you've
Mhm.
completed all of them?
Yeah. So let's see. The Rito one is the one that they want you to do first. They kind of push you to go to that one. You can do the other ones before it, but that's the one where it's like, hey, you should go to Rito Village. And so it's like, okay. They show you where the other ones are, but that's the one they kind of prompt you to go to first, which I thought was good. Just kind of giving you some direction, where in the
I
last
did
one they
not.
did. You didn't like that?
Well, I didn't do it. I
Oh,
just
you didn't do it first.
I did it the same order I did it like in
In Breath of the
Breath of the
Wild.
Wild. Yeah, which
Yeah,
was the Zora first,
Zora. Yep, I
then
did Zora
Rita,
first, and then yep.
then Gerudo, and then Goron.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, both
Yeah,
times. And I think it's a good order. Actually, I mean,
yeah.
I think Rito in both games is like the most useful
Yes,
skill.
definitely.
Yeah.
That has been one thing where, because I played Breath of the Wild so recently, not
Mhm.
having that Rito ability where you
The
can jump
Rivali
up.
scale.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that has been tough to not have. And I get obviously why it's not in this one because there's a lot more of that upwards element and they give you ascension. But
Yeah.
just even being able to jump up and then slow-mo attack people was just so nice to have. But
Yeah.
then the little kid, I don't remember the little birdie's name that will like push you along. That has been so
Tulin.
useful. Yeah, Tulin, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
That has been super useful in this
Yeah.
game. Where like the other three have their uses, but that's the one I'm consistently using. The
Yeah.
other three I'll kind of only bring out when I'm gonna fight someone or I see like, oh, I need a shield or my rock guy. That is interesting that they kind of used because he's kind of like a bomb. He serves the same
Mhm.
function as a bomb. So it's nice that they gave you an unlimited bomb element kind of with him.
Yeah.
And then that electricity arrow thing with the what's her name? Riju from the
Yeah.
Gerudo. Her
Mhm.
ability is super useful too, but it's like it's crazy. Like that one was, in my opinion, the hardest divine beast. That
Yeah.
I
Or
kept,
the
or
phenomena.
the phenomena, yeah. That one just kept killing me. It was tough.
Yeah.
And I was literally like I literally just kept dying. And I found out that if you save a certain way into the fighting a guy, then it doesn't save your progress when you die and reset you to where the level of health is, but it does save how many resources you've consumed. So when you respawn in, you respawn with less than what you wanted, but it's still at the beginning of the
That
boss. And
happened
I
to
was
you?
like, that happened to me. And so I was like, oh, great.
Great. I
Um,
don't have arrows anymore.
yeah, exactly. But that one
Oh
I think
boy.
was my favorite of the final bosses too, because it was so challenging and it
Mhm.
really kept you on your feet. The other ones were all fun. Like I don't love these in comparison to like a classic Zelda dungeon. I do prefer that. I think they did a good job of making it more like a dungeon, but they still just say, hey, you have to find these 5 things and activate them all. And it's like, okay, like I get that why you're doing it because it makes you use the your friend's ability and all that and whatever, but I still prefer dungeon. That with that being said, these were still a lot of fun. Like I enjoyed these, I think, more than the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun with all 4 of them. I thought they were
Yeah.
really cool. Like they pushed me, which was
Yeah,
awesome.
I agree. I did the same thing you were talking about, where just you progress too much without using the abilities.
Yeah.
And I did that with the Sidon Water Temple. I was
Yes.
just like, how am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, whatever, I want to go talk to this guy. And then he started following me around. I'm like, gosh dang it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I got to go redo all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
The one it was the worst for me in was actually the Rito one because I hadn't like that was the first one I did.
Yeah.
Was like, how do you even do this? And I didn't have the companion. So I just had
Yeah.
to go find him and do all that stuff. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense now because I can't do certain things without him like pushing you to jump. And I really did like that one as well. How you had to like ascend little by little into the clouds. I thought
Yeah.
that was fun.
That one was cool. Yeah, I'd say overall, with the phenomenon and the divine beasts,
Mhm.
what I loved about the divine beasts was how cinematic it got, like when you were trying to enter the divine
Yeah.
beasts.
Yep.
So my favorite part in all of Breath of the Wild was fighting the elephant beast, and
Mm.
you're on Sidon and you're like riding
Yeah, that was
through
a
the
ton of
water,
fun. Yep,
and
that
then
was
you
really
like
cool.
ascended up the waterfall and like
Shoot
slow
him.
motion shot the
Yes.
lightning arrows. So sick, and the
That was
music was
awesome.
so cool. It
Hmm.
was triumphant. It was excellent, and I missed that in this game. The closest we got was all of the Gerudo stuff. It was
Yeah.
kind of spooky, terrifying, like
Yep.
invasion. You were fighting
I did
off. It
like
was
the
super
invasion
cool.
thing a lot. I thought that was a cool element.
Yeah, and then even the boss fight.
Yeah.
we're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yep.
where they're just like they start crawling at you like
Hmm.
at the halfway
Dude,
point, and you're
that
like,
when you get to the halfway point
ah,
before
go,
you
go,
like
go.
activate the first mushroom so you can get the light, it's like if
Yeah,
you get hit, like you just keep getting pummeled. So that one,
yeah.
yeah, that was spooky.
You're like, run, 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 run.
I did like the minecart part of the Goron one as well. How you're going around the mountain, you just have to keep launching him and like
Oh
attacking
yeah.
it. I liked how some of them had elements where you fought a piece of the divine beast or the phenomena at first, and then you
Mhm.
did it. I thought it was interesting they called them like the temples in this one, where in the last one they just called them the divine beasts. And I do like that you can revisit them because in the first one, once
Yeah,
you beat it, that was it. You couldn't go
they're
back
closed off.
inside. Yep. And so I guess I'll just like transition into a few of my like criticisms,
Yeah,
or at least things for Tears of the Kingdom versus Breath of the Wild that I prefer. In Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like the chests are a lot worse.
yeah.
Like a lot of the times, it's like I don't even bother opening chests sometimes because I'm like, what is it going to be like a freaking
A webbing
a
bow.
bundle of arrows? Like who
Yeah,
cares? Whereas in Breath of the Wild, I felt like a lot more of the resources were, or a lot more of the chests were like, oh, cool, it's like a ruby or a piece of clothing or whatever. If they felt more impactful.
yeah,
The thing I will say that I like about this one though is that it's not as random where they give you the clothing items or like the better stuff. They like it's like a quest or it's like a side it's a side quest or it's a shrine quest. It's like, hey, finish this and then you'll be rewarded at the end. And the reward is typically a article of clothing, which I love. That's like one of my favorite part about these games. Is trying to collect all the clothes just because I
yeah,
love being able to do that and just have that. One thing I will say with that though is that I wish they would have just changed a little bit about the ones that they bring back. Like I get that they have to bring back, the flame guard stuff and the coat, but if
yeah.
they had just altered it just a little bit, I would have preferred that because it's like, okay, I already had this exact same thing in the last game.
Mhm.
Um, but honestly, otherwise there's not a ton to complain about like in this game. There's just minor elements where it would have been cool to see a slight update or change from from Breath of the Wild into Tears of the Kingdom. But even then it's like cool. I loved this in the first one, so it's cool to have it again in this one. It's just been a lot of fun to be able to kind of explore and see all those different avenues.
Yeah, definitely the small discoveries, right? Like in Breath of the Wild, I would see a chest and I'm like, well, that's my goal now. I got to
Yep.
go open that
Yeah,
chest, see
exactly.
what's in there. Yeah, and now because every shrine in both games has like one chest in it,
Yeah.
at least. That's a reward chest.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in Breath of the Wild, I wanted to get it, make sure I got it every time.
Yep.
Like that, finishing the quest was secondary to
Yeah.
getting that
To getting
chest.
that chest. Yeah.
In this one, yeah, I couldn't care less. And a
Yep.
lot of that is because you're creating and enhancing your own weapons,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so either you'll get a crappy weapon that you can use, like a hilt of a sword that you
Yeah.
can put
Or
something
just
on,
a rusted piece
or
of
the
junk.
thing you can put onto the sword. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
I get better stuff putting on to put on swords from killing
Like a
bokoblins.
bokoblin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like there really isn't that much incentive to put on or to go and get the chests.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like with how they're doing the armor and stuff, it I never feel like, oh, I'm going to be surprised one of these times and just
Yeah, that
find
it's a piece
a
of armor, but it's
climber's
like,
bandana or
yeah.
something. No, it's always same stuff. Always
Mm-hmm.
underwhelming.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Again, like I said, underwhelming, but it's cool that it kind of guides you a little bit better. That is one thing I've noticed about this game is versus Breath of the Wild. I kind of mentioned this, but it really like walks you through it a lot better, I thought, than Breath of the Wild did without it being like too on the nose or over the top. Like Breath of the Wild just didn't really give you a lot of clues in that regard in terms of finding specific things. This one,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, if you want to get the rubber armor, you have to do this. And it's like, oh, cool. Or it's like, hey,
Yeah.
if you want to unlock the auto build ability, you have to go to the depths and talk to this guy. And then you can get your zonite or processed and get the energy wells. And so it's like, I'm glad that it shows me how to do that type of stuff so that I can like do it and then benefit because sometimes it's like integral parts of the game or just stuff that is really fun to do. And it's nice that they really give you a good way of exploring that.
Yeah, I would also say it really incentivizes reading and listening to what every character NPC is saying.
Yeah, for
Because yeah,
sure.
like every place has hidden secrets and little things you can find. and if you're not paying attention, you miss things, right?
Hmm.
Um, Also, like the story, right? Every piece of the story adds a lot of lore and adds a lot of, hey, this is what's going on. This is why these things are happening. This is why this character is not around or why this character
Yep.
is.
Hmm.
All of that. And so it's kind of, I know with a lot of games I kind of have that mentality of skip, 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 skip,
Yeah, yeah,
enter,
yeah. Just
enter, and
like, okay,
skip.
let me just get to it. Yep.
Yeah, come on, I know what I'm supposed to do. Stop talking to me.
Yeah.
With this one, it's like, no, okay, what did they just say about a lost treasure
Yeah,
somewhere?
yeah,
Because I
exactly.
have to go do that now.
Uh-huh.
Like I
Yeah.
have to.
I can't not. I
I
can't just read
cannot
that
go
and
do
then
that.
ignore it.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been really cool
It
in those kind of ways.
it is cool that they've integrated, because the first time I played Breath of the Wild, I did not play the DLC element of it.
Mm,
And then when I played it on the Switch more recently, I did. And so it's cool that they've integrated all of the DLC elements of Breath of the Wild into the main game in this one. Few examples of that are the tokens, the teleportation tokens. I don't know if you've gotten those, where you can just put a token on the ground and then transport. You can go back to it.
no, I
That
don't
was
think
part of the
so.
DLC. The motorcycle isn't in this one, I assume, but that was a part of the DLC. That because that was a guardian weapon. But then a lot of the armor that you could unlock through the DLC is in this just base game,
Yeah,
like the phantom armor from like the Phantom Hourglass stuff. I don't know if you found any of that stuff yet.
yeah, I have
Um,
not.
but I haven't either.
Look,
I
I've
just
played a lot,
yeah,
but I haven't found
there's so
any.
much to it.
Like I found my. I feel like I'm just barely starting to find armor. Like I just
Mhm.
got the gliders armor set.
Which one?
The glider armor set.
Oh, I
Have
don't
you
even
got
know. I
that?
don't think I have that. No.
It's like I found one in one of the sky
Oh, nice.
parts, and I
Yeah, I
was like,
definitely don't
okay,
have that
well,
then.
gotta go find the rest of this.
Yeah, I really like all the new armor and weapons. I was gonna say as well.
Yeah,
Like I complained a bit about how they just ported over the old ones, but I really like how many new armors there are in this. It's been cool, like the gloom armor. There's gloom armor and there's like glow armor and rubber armor. I don't know if rubber armor was in the last one, or like
it
sticky armor
sounds.
as well. I didn't get
I
it if it
feel like the
was.
rubber was, but I didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it
I
seems like
don't
it
know.
was as well. But
Yeah,
there's just, yeah, so many more things. And then I want to talk a little bit about like Guardian weapons versus Zonite weapons, or
sure.
like just the Guardians versus Zonites. Like, which do you prefer?
Boy, I well, first of all, I'm really sad there aren't guardians in this game. I
Yeah.
loved the flavor and the just the feel of all of the guardians, even the minor guardians and stuff.
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
going into a shrine and it says like major test of strength, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
God damn it!
And you
Yeah,
know you're
I
gonna
guess we're
be
doing this now. I really love those,
Yeah.
and the Zonai. I like the lore
Hmm.
and the idea behind it, but just aesthetically and everything, like I don't like it as much.
I agree. Yep. I totally agree. I like the Zonai. I think it's fine. But when I heard they were called Zonai and I saw their what they looked like, I was like, hmm,
Mm.
that's kind of an L. I kind of love that. I really like obviously the building elements and the
Yeah,
batteries and Zonite, and the some of the weapons are cool, like the Zonite bow where you can charge it up and then it'll launch farther, and
yeah,
things like that are really cool. But yeah, I do prefer Guardians to Zonite, or the Zonai in general, but I do still like this a lot. Like it's not, it doesn't take away anything from me from
right.
it being Zonai versus Guardians. That was just kind of, yeah, an aesthetic I liked more in the first one was the Guardians. But I do like, yeah, see the thing with this one, Tears of the Kingdom, is that it just expands, because it's just base level game, right? Where you have the main thing and it's just such a good, simple, fun game. I mean, it's not that simple.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun. This one takes all of that and gives you two extra levels to it. It says, hey, here's a totally different storyline, which I do like, that they didn't just rehash the same thing, that they came up with something new.
mhm,
But it's still Ganondorf, which I am excited about, because I was like, I
right.
really don't want like a new villain. Like I love how Ganon was in the first one. Now it's Ganondorf in this one, slash the Demon King, or whatever you want to call him. And the beginning of the game was really cool as well, because you're
Yeah.
fully decked out. You got your 30 hearts, you got your 3 stamina rings. It's like, ooh,
You're
man.
like, that's more like it.
Yeah, that's more like it. And then you
Here
get
we
nerfed,
go.
obviously, because you have to play the
Yeah.
game. You can't just like start off infinitely good. And I love the arm element actually of this game
Mhm.
a lot too. And I love the Master Sword quest in this. Have you gotten the Master Sword yet?
Yeah.
That was
It
so
was
awesome.
powerful.
It was so
Like,
cool because I was not expecting that at all. I mean, they kind of mentioned spoilers, specific spoilers for Tears of the Kingdom. They kind of mention in some of the memories, like, oh yeah, if you swallow one of these, you turn into a dragon. And it's like, okay, so Zelda's a dragon. Like
yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
cool. She's around here somewhere. And then when you finish the tears, you see the one cry, and it's like, oh, the Master Sword is in its head. And
Yeah.
that's when you get the final memory, and then you jump onto the head and you pull it out, and all that stuff was just so unexpected and really, really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, those elements have just been so cool, how they've changed it up a lot and given you a totally different story. I also like how there wasn't a huge time jump from the last one, because
Right.
with Breath of the Wild, it starts off and it's like, you've been asleep for 100 years. And it's like, okay, whoa. And in this one, everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows Link and Zelda. And it's kind of cool because there's not a, oh, yeah, we have to fill this kid in on everything because he's been asleep and he doesn't know anything.
Mhm.
This one, it's more like, hey, here's this Zonai stuff that you can learn some stuff about, but it's not like you have no memory of anything. You're just a dumb kid who doesn't know anything. Um, but yeah, it's just been really fun how they mix things up and kind of built on what they established in the last one. So I'll be
Yeah.
very curious to see if they make another one of these. I kind of feel like they're going to do a trilogy,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Well, I want to go back to your talking about the Guardians really quick because those were the like the staple of the game were these big old machines,
Yep.
you know, uh, Incredibles looking guys
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They really
walking
were.
around, just blasting you for an insane amount of damage unless you
Mhm.
know how to use a pot lid effectively,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Um, they are not in this game, right?
Mhm.
Instead, they populated the game with other monsters and kind of more unique monsters in some ways. Obviously, we've got some of the classics coming back.
Yep.
Um,
But design
and
changes a little bit with those, which I think is cool as well.
yeah, yeah,
Because they all have
I,
horns now.
they all have horns because
Because you
you
can use
gotta
them
have make some
horns.
weapons.
Yep.
Well, and I loved the well, I watched the trailer right before it came out because I didn't have it pre-ordered. I was like, yeah, I'll just wait for people to, kind of say what they think about it. I love the first game. I'm sure this one's gonna be good.
Mhm.
I don't need it right away. That was kind of my thought.
Yeah.
And then I watched the trailer that came out
Like only a couple weeks ago. Like it wasn't very
yeah,
long
like the
ago. A
most
few weeks
recent
ago. Yeah.
trailer, right before the game came out, and I saw King Ghidorah from Godzilla, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm getting this game. Well, and there's just so many monsters throughout the world that are like that, where I
Mhm.
see one kind of like in Skyrim when you're playing that, and you just see a
A
dragon
dragon. Yep.
coast over a mountain. And you're like, oh boy, all
Like here we
right.
go. Let's get
You're
this
either
dragon,
like, let's
baby.
run towards it or run away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that same feel for this game, where in Tear or Breath of the Wild, it was the same where you saw one of the dragons like in the distance, and you're like,
Is that a
is that a
dragon?
dragon just
Yeah.
like in the air?
Uh-huh.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
In this game,
They're not
kind of gives
aggro
you
in Breath of the Wild. But in this one, they are. Well, the
yeah,
same types of
yeah,
dragons are
yeah.
not. The
They're
new ones,
the
what do they call them? Like
Gleoks.
Gleoks? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
And I
spooky.
tried to fight one and it did not go well. And I reloaded and I'm like, well, I'll do that quest later.
Yep, same. There's an electricity one
Yeah.
kind of near a shrine that I was like, oh, maybe I'll try and fight this. And electricity powered stuff is just so hard to fight anyway. And I immediately died and lost all my stuff. I was like, cool. Yeah, I'll come back to
Yeah.
this later when I get rubber armor, I guess. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the expansion of the enemies has been really cool too.
Right. Well, and I told my friend, I said, hey, no spoilers, but there's a big old monster that like I thought was so sick. And then they played the game for a long time and they kept texting me, is this the one you're talking about? Is this the
Uh-huh.
one you're talking about? And I was like, nope, nope, nope. Because there's so many.
Yeah,
There's
there's
so
so
many I
many. Yeah,
could have
there's so
been
many cool
talking
ones.
about.
Yep. Which was the one you were
Um,
talking about specifically?
I was talking about the Gleok,
Okay, nice. Yeah.
but they, I guess, didn't see one for a long time. And then they're
Nice.
like, "Oh, you mean the three-headed dragon?" I was like, "Yeah, the three-headed dragon."
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. So, yeah, man,
Yeah. So it's important to note as well, neither Jared or I have beaten the final boss yet as
right.
well. We just kind of wanted to do this because we both put a lot of time into the game, but I'm not ready to be done with it. I think a lot of people like to kind of save the final boss till last and then put the game down. And I'm not ready to put it down, even though I've been playing it so much. I still want to explore stuff and do more shrines and find more armor and all that. And so I haven't fought the final boss yet. It's the Demon King,
Same.
obviously.
Yeah.
It's in Hyrule Castle, but
We think
we might
if
be
there's a
thrown for a loop.
curveball and we fight
Hey.
Zelda or something,
Well,
be
yeah, it
kind of
could be.
crazy.
Could be
Yeah.
a version of Zelda at least, because I mean, there's that Zelda that is apparently at all the phenomena, but it's not really Zelda. So it
Yeah.
could be like the Demon King in disguise. That's kind of been my assumption. Again,
Yeah.
haven't finished it yet, so we'll see.
That's also mine because in one of the memories you see fake Zelda try to kill
Yep.
the old queen of Hyrule, Sonya.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, big spoilers, everyone. Sorry, yeah.
uh,
Well, this is just two friends talking about where they're at in the game,
mhm.
and I mean, we're not spoiling anything for each other, so
No, yeah,
I
we're
guess
just
that's
kind
all that
of
matters to us.
yeah. You were warned. I mean, kind of. We've
Yeah,
been kind of throwing more heavy spoilers in at unexpected points, though. So hopefully we haven't ruined it too much for you.
right.
At the end of the day, though, just highly recommend it. Even
One
after
hundred
hearing this type
percent.
of stuff, it doesn't ruin the gameplay by any means, knowing
No.
certain plot elements or certain abilities that you can or cannot do. So if you're on the fence and you've listened this far, absolutely get it, absolutely
Yeah.
play it. However, I will say if you're a busy person, you
Don't.
will, yeah, don't. You're not going to have time for it. Just straight up, you're going to want to play it and you're going to become sleep deprived, or other
Mhm.
things are going to, lose priority where maybe they shouldn't. For Jared and I, right now, unemployed, it's kind of the
Yeah.
perfect time for
It's
us to be
perfect.
playing hours and hours of this game.
Are there
So,
more productive things we can be doing?
oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
100% for
Absolutely.
sure.
In every way there is.
Yeah, but we need to reward ourselves because we've been having a long time in school and now we're not in school anymore. So
Yeah.
it's fun to not do that and be able to play games for hours on end now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
I've pretty
know.
much satisfied everything I wanted to talk about. It's a fun game. You should play it. Jared, was there anything
Absolutely.
else you wanted to kind of add on or include or praise?
I don't think so. I would just say, yeah, I've got friends who aren't big video game players
Mm-hmm.
who played Breath of the Wild and just spent every waking hour playing it. Like
Yeah,
there's so much to enjoy from any level of gamer. I'm not a huge gamer.
yeah, me either.
Lucas, not really
I
either.
mean, like I'll do this thing where I'll start playing a game and play it for a ton,
Yeah.
play it a ton, but then I'll like kind of go in between different hobbies where I won't be playing a video game a lot. But yeah, I
So
love games like this though. They're like single player story mode, open world. Those games are just awesome. And so when there's one like this that
absolutely.
comes out and it sucks me in, it's like it's awesome. It's good and
Yeah.
fun to be a part of it.
It's one of those kind of checklist games, I'd say,
Yeah.
where you start doing one thing and you're like, my to-do list is one item. Okay, go to that tower
Mm-hmm.
and do that. And then on your way to that tower, you pass four shrines and you're like, okay, let's just make a note of that. So now my to-do list is two things, right?
Yep.
This tower and then these shrines. And then you pass through a town and they're like, did you hear about this? And you're like, okay, well, let's write
I
that
mean, I
down on my
hadn't, but I
to-do
might as
list.
well do that
Might as
now.
well do that and get involved in the town politics. And then yeah, everything just slowly, it's a downward spiral where that to-do list of one thing turns into a to-do list of 20.
Yeah.
But like you're not, man, I gotta go do this. And it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
fun. It's
excited to
like
go explore
yeah, it's cool.
and progress.
It's really awesome how it expands upon itself and just to it's so satisfying to do certain things too. Like killing certain enemies after fighting them over and over again. Like when you finally beat your first Lionel, it's just like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so euphoric. It's just amazing. Or those hand guys when you kill the phantom hands,
Oh,
killing that for the first time was
that
just
was
like,
so
yes.
scary.
And there's so
Oh
many of
my
those as well.
gosh.
They're all over. And
Man.
sometimes you'll just run into them. And it's like, cool, I guess I have
You're
to
like,
fight
no,
this thing
no,
now.
no, 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 no,
Because
no.
some enemies you can run away from. Those guys, no, they'll follow you. Like they
Yeah,
will just keep pursuing you, and they're fast too,
they're
and they're
so fast.
regenerating. And so it's like if you don't fight them immediately, then they're just going to keep getting stronger. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
awesome.
I think my recommendation, and maybe you'll have a similar one or a different one. If you haven't played either, play Breath of the Wild first.
Yeah, I would
Um,
agree.
just
I
enjoy that. Don't try to rush through it either. Enjoy it, play it to your heart's content. Once you've gotten your $60, $70 worth out of it,
yeah,
whatever it's selling at right now, then move on to the next one. Same thing. Like there's so much to enjoy and explore, and just savor every minute of it, because
absolutely.
yeah, it truly is an exploration, and just have fun.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I totally agree. I will say, like, you could play Tears of the Kingdom without having played Breath of the Wild. I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend it though either, just because there's so much fun stuff to do in Breath of the Wild that you might as well play it first. And as someone who just finished replaying Breath of the Wild, going straight into the Tears of the Kingdom, it's not like repetitive. Like
Right.
there are a couple elements where it's like, okay, yeah, I get this, I've done this, but there's so much great stuff about both games that they really go well together. So if you haven't played Breath of the Wild and you don't want to, you absolutely can play Tears of the Kingdom. However, if this game coming out is just motivation for you to now play Breath of the Wild for the first time, then do it. It's totally worth it. It's still a great game. You can probably get it for a lot less. I mean, you don't get it for quite as cheap as it should be. It's still probably 40 or $50, which
Yeah,
is just
that's true.
obscene. But it's still worth the money for sure
Yeah.
because it's so fun. So yeah, I play them however you want, but play them at some point. I promise you it will be worth your time.
Speaking of time, I think that's about all the time we've got for you.
That's a perfect
That's
segue.
that's an hour we haven't been playing this game, so
Yeah, it's
it's an
kind of an
hour
hour
wasted.
wasted. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you everyone so much for listening. If you did not catch our news last time, we have a website now. It's
Oh,
mancavemovienight.com. So go check it out. Yeah, we've got, like, it's a place you can access all of our episodes, learn a little bit more about the podcast and about each of us. As well as if you want to support the podcast, we do have a link on there where you can support us on Patreon. That Patreon right now just is kind of a shell,
yeah,
and we're going to be building it up once I get back from my vacation.
yeah,
So in about a month. So no pressure to, but if you would like to support us, you're welcome to start there.
yeah. And
Um,
thank you just for listening already. We love having your ears be tuned to our voices, and we will take as much time as we can. See, the nice thing about you listening to this is that you can listen while you play Tears of the Kingdom.
that's
We
true.
couldn't play Tears of the Kingdom at the same time as we're doing this, so you have a slight advantage on us that in that regard. So I don't know. You might as well give us that $3 Patreon.
If you are playing this right now, Lucas, is there a place they should go and check out? Like, is there a
Mm,
place on the map?
the labyrinths in Tears of the Kingdom are really cool. They were
Okay,
great in Breath of the Wild, but they're even cooler in this one because there's
awesome.
just even more to it
Yeah,
than
and those
the
are
other ones.
on like the corners of the map,
Yep.
basically. And you
Yep.
can see, you can tell, you can see
You can
them on
tell,
the
you
map.
know what they are. They're
You know
just
what they
huge
are.
mazes. It's like, oh, I wonder what this could possibly be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
Jinx. I don't know if it'll be Jinx for the listeners, but it was a Jinx for me
it's
because we
totally
both
a
sort of
jinx
saw
for
it the
me.
same. And the last thing I was going to say is something that I've forgotten to say. So now I'm saying words that is not dead air. What was I going to say about this game? Oh, dang it. Well, it's good. Just play it. And thanks for listening. We'll see you on another Mag Movie Night Monday.
Bye.
Bye.